Good morning and welcome to 20 Minutes. I'm Allie Smith and today we will be discussing the ancient Near East. We will be focusing on the Babylonians, Assyrians, and Egyptian warfare and tactics. To start off the show, we found a news clip from the Iron Age about Babylon. Here it is.
Good evening and welcome to Bronze Age News Hour. I'm Megan O'Donnell and joining us later will be Jennifer Otero. Tonight we have coverage of a breaking story in the Middle East on the Babylonian war front. Lagash and Umma, two cities only 18 miles apart, are currently involved in a territorial dispute. Jennifer Otero is on location to update us on the status of the war.
Thanks, Megan. I'm on location in the Mesopotamian city of Umma, where gruesome violence has erupted due to a conflict between ownership of land between the two cities of Umma and Lagash. This violence began early this week and is not expected to end anytime soon. Just to give everyone back at home an idea of my current surroundings, Umma is an extremely dusty, dry, and desert-like city, as you can see. These predicaments have caused a loud, noisy war front, and dust storms have become extremely prominent due to the weather conditions, causing soldiers to often lose their way. Where I am standing, Megan, is not a safe location for observation. Civilians are to stay close to shelter and wait until the outrage subsides, which could be weeks or even months.
Well, I hope everything's okay over there. While we're waiting to regain connection, here's some information regarding the people of Babylonia. Babylonians received cultural influences from Sumerian and Akkadian traditions. It sometimes is classified as a Syro-Babylonian because of the close cultural interdependence of the two political centers. An abundance of clay and lack of stone led to their use of mud brick, which is used to build temples within societies. These temples are supported by columns and act as the center of all Babylonian society. Water is also an important principle in Babylonian cultures. They have trade routes throughout the Persian Gulf, allowing for easier transportation of goods and people and increase their wealth considerably. I've just received word our connection failure has been resolved. Let's see how Jennifer is doing.
Sorry, Megan. We just endured a massive dust storm, which caused us to lose connection. As I was saying earlier, I'm currently in a very unpredictable situation. As you can see behind me, soldiers are armed with spears and shields. As an intimidation factor, they all line up in rows to throw their opponent off, making them unsure of how large their military size is. Things are starting to get out of hand. Time for me and my crew to seek shelter. Back to you, Megan.
Sorry folks, that was the only footage we recovered. Earlier today I was at an interview with Sage Sinkoff, ancient Egyptian specialist. Let's take a look. I'm here today with Sage Sinkoff, Egyptian warfare specialist. Before the 18th dynasty, Egyptians were peaceful and we never heard much from them. But after they defeated the Hyksos, they became a world power with a strong military. Defeating the Hyksos led to the use of chariots and new weaponry. It also led to improvements in military organization and battle tactics. Now over to Sage to give us some more information.
Thank you, Allie. The new chariots of Egypt were different from others because they were state-owned and they were lighter and more agile. The most elite warriors rode in those chariots, and these chariot warriors used the composite bows, which were only for the elite. These composite bows were different from the simple and recurved bows because they were made of bone and wood. They were very expensive, so they could penetrate scale longer and had a longer range. One of the biggest additions to Egyptian weaponry is the sword called the khepesh. It has a hook on one side of the blade used to pull down enemy shields. It was used to both slashing and stabbing. Egyptians preferred to use these swords over axes. Egyptians also had a new armor after becoming a world power. They wore leather tunics and they sewed on metal scales all over them. The people who were in the chariots only worried about covering up their top half.
Thank you, Sage. That was very informative. Now, as I was doing a little research, I saw that Ramses II was quite a significant leader.
Yes, he was, Allie.
Are you able to tell us more about this?
Yes. Ramses II is also known as Ramses the Great. He played a large role in the growth of Egypt. The fact that Ramses had a large ego determined him to conquer more and more land, which finally led him to the Levant of Syria. Ramses II is most known for leading Egypt into the Battle of Kadesh against the Hittites. This battle is the largest chariot battle ever fought. The war was brought about because the Egyptians were moving into Syria and the Hittites knew they needed to stand their ground. This was a very significant battle because it resulted in a stalemate and was the earliest known peace treaty.
Wow! Who knew the Egyptians played such a role in the world we know today? They have come so far.
I know, I couldn't agree more.
That's all for the Egyptians. Sage was sorry she couldn't make it live to the show, but we thank her for such an interesting interview. I've just been informed on new footage we have found from the Iron Age. This news clip focuses on the Assyrians.
Hello, I'm Megan Foster. And I'm Aubrey Evans, and we're here today to inform you on the breaking news about the Assyrians.
Everyone should be on the lookout for the new military powerhouse known as the Assyrians. Located between the Mediterranean Sea and Egypt, they're a force that can't be messed with. Who's the leader behind this new up-and-coming threat, Aubrey?
Tiglath-Pileser III, also known as TP3. He is focused on expansion, power, gaining resources, and control. This is greatly affecting Israel because it is causing political anarchy, religious squabbles, and people are attempting to usurp the throne.
People who should be on the lookout for the Assyrians are the Egyptians and Babylonians. They have very harsh military tactics and strategies. Although I don't need to tell you that because the Assyrians are masters of intimidation. Aubrey, could you tell us some more of their tactics?
Sure. One of their tactics is something we refer to as the anthill, which is where they put honey on their prisoner and lay them onto a huge anthill and watch them suffer.
Ah! Don't do it! Ah! The ends!
Suffer! The ends! Another tactic is berating, which we have been informed that an Assyrian by the name of Rabshakeh, an official who will come to the gate of the community and talk trash and post threats until they let him in the gate.
Who's there?
It's Rabshakeh!
What do you want?
Let me in your kingdom!
No!
I'll bring all my military and attack you!
No, you won't.
You're ugly!
What?
Your mom's fat!
What? You won't come in here.
Yes, I will! You're gonna get the flagpole!
Another tactic is the human flagpole, which is where the Assyrians take long spears and stick them in their opponent and run around with them on the spear. The stretch and pull, which is where they use two horses to run in opposite directions and pull the body apart. The slash and scare. All of these are tactics as well as burning and skinning people alive.
Those are some harsh tactics. It has been reported that they are using chariots to quickly defeat their rivals.
Assyrians! #1!
Besides intimidation and the use of chariots, they employ deportation, which if gets out of hand could potentially lead to the demise of Israel. Deportation is a technique where the Assyrians gather elite individuals with skills pertaining to architecture and people who could benefit in creating a society. They bring these people to a deserted place and force them to build a community, and once it's built, they deport them to a different location to do it again. Although they employ all these harsh tactics, they still remain civilized people. Reporters say that before attacking the community, they give their opponent options of invasion.
In other news, the Assyrian culture. Their culture plays a huge role in their military strategies. One of the reasons their tactics are so harsh has been reported that they do not rely on the messages from Yahweh.
I've seen the men, and they wear their beards curly and their hair long, which we believe emphasizes their power and masculinity.
Thanks, Megan. Also, their bowmanship is an in-depth and well-thought-out process in which they produce bows specific to their military tactics. Due to the strength of the military and their accomplishments, the Assyrian culture continues to thrive. Thank you for joining us today.
That's all we have on the ancient Near East. Thanks for joining us today on 20 Minutes. Hope you enjoyed the footage we recovered. Tune in next time for the special on the scandalous Samson and Delilah.